Hello and welcome to Ear to the Ground. This week I'm in Kerry picking out a chemical-free Christmas tree.
I personally feel I had a very simple job made very complicated, and I've tried to re-simplify it again.
Christmas time is a busy time for most of us, but for Christmas tree growers, it's literally make or break season, when a few weeks of sales determines the payback for 10 years of hard work. Padraig Sugrew's family have been farming here outside Tralee since before the famine. Today, Padraig grows Christmas trees on the small farm in Lizerbula. Why did you start growing Christmas trees?
Well, my dad was retiring, and one of the guys at work was telling him that he was getting this deal from a company that you plant Christmas trees for 50 pence. You paid 50 pence for the plant, and you were getting £3 or £3.50, I can't remember the figures now, back when your tree was grown 6 or 7 years later. So we figured out there was a way of using up a field, so we planted 5,000 trees in one field. And when the trees were ready to be sold, there was no people to buy the trees back.
So this get-rich-quick scheme was falling asunder.
Exactly.
The Sugrews' first foray into Christmas tree growing might not have gone well, but they were determined to sell the Norway spruce trees they were stuck with. So Padraig potted up some trees and his father sold them in Tralee. Each Christmas the business grew, and after 5 years Padraig decided to plant again.
We started planting more trees here to supply the customers we had built up over time, you know. And the great thing about it, we still have some of those people that would have came into us in 97 and bought a potted spruce off us are coming back to still, you know. Managing
8 acres and 20,000 trees is a year-round job for Padraig, which he supplements with part-time work in accountancy. How much work goes into Christmas trees?
I normally spend about an average 3 days a week. Now, generally, January I try to stay away from I do about 100 hours a week in December, so January I don't do a whole lot. We'd start in February and March. I plant about 2,000 trees every year. You're probably talking 10, 11 years before plantation will be cut out.
And I suppose when you're at the scale that you're at, where you might have 10 or 20,000 trees, that's a lot of work.
It is. My wife says to me there when she sees me going to a field of 3,000 trees, how do you face into that? Like, all on your own. Yeah. But I actually love it. I enjoy that peace and quiet.
To grow healthy trees on his poor land, Padraig initially used artificial fertilisers and plenty of chemicals to control weeds, diseases and pests. But when he noticed fewer and fewer worms in the soil, he decided to cut down on sprays and try more natural methods of biological pest control.
I planted 2,000 trees one spring and found one worm. And
in the soil?
Yes, that was my eye-opener. I said, this is it now. This is the time. That can't be good. I find them now all the time again. But it took 2 and 3 years before they recovered.
Presumably, though, the reason that the vast majority of Christmas trees grown here or anywhere else aren't grown chemical-free is because it's harder, it's more challenging, is it?
Oh, it's much more work. I mean, I use chicken pellets now for fertiliser, and I put out 10 tonne, as against probably a tonne of chemical fertiliser, or a tonne and a half, and it's done in a bucket.
Yeah.
So
it's all by hand?
It's all by hand, yeah. So there is a lot of work in it.
To control destructive insects like aphids, Padraig uses lacewings, a natural predator, as well as relying on wasps and birds to keep other pests at bay. But relying on biological controls can be challenging.
It can be very soul-destroying going down and seeing them damaging the trees and waiting for your natural methods to kick in, and you have to believe.
Yeah.
You just have to believe it's going to work, you know?
You have to hold your nerve.
You do. And this year now I was getting very, very close. And the next thing, we went down one Tuesday evening, I remember, because Tuesday evening I was losing patience, and Wednesday, all of a sudden, it all kicked in, and by Friday they were totally under control, you know?
And that was totally by natural methods?
Yes.
Padraig has also stopped spraying weed killers in his plantation, and now has a flock of sheep to do the same job.
They're called Shropshire sheep. They won't eat the trees, or haven't done so far, and they're here all the summer. Ordinary sheep will eat the trees, I've learned, because I tried a few. I borrowed a few off a guy and left them into a small field to see how they get on, and they did fine for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they start to nibble on the trees. Yeah. They don't. They're just strictly weed control.
They're basically lawnmowers.
They're lawnmowers. And it's nice to have a bit of livestock around the place again, because we used to have livestock here before. It's nice to have something to go and check every day.
Yeah.
I personally feel I had a very simple job made very complicated, and I've tried to re-simplify it again. It's pruning, it's feeding, the sheep are doing the weed control. There might be more work in it, but it's a simpler job.
Irish people buy a staggering 400,000 Christmas trees every year. But which are the best sellers? And is it better for the environment to reuse an artificial tree for several years rather than cutting down a real one every year?
That's a noble fir, a tree that's getting quite scarce because they're quite difficult to grow. But they're a nice scent, they give you a good scent, you get a good smell from the noble fir. Where the north, you'll get a better, fuller tree, but the scent, there's less of a scent from them.
A lot of people are now beginning to ask the question, well, am I better off buying a real tree or a fake tree?
If you buy a fake tree, it's plastic and metal mixed, it can never be recycled, and in 5,000 years, if you had the luck of coming back, you could find your tree in a landfill somewhere. That'll be broken down in 12 months, and while it's breaking down, it's providing a habitat for things we don't, and there are the things we don't see, the wood louse, and the different things we don't see breaking it down, you know?
In the weeks before Christmas, it's all hands on deck to sell the trees in Tralee. The years of work come down to giving the customers the tree they want.
You have 2 busy weekends, and it's what you do in those 2 weekends defines your year, really. And if you get a weather event or something, it can really affect it, you know? But it's enjoyable as well. There's a great buzz. I mean, once you come in here, there's a buzz.
Padraig's wife, Samantha, is a trained florist, so she adds value to the foliage with a wide range of wreaths and table centres. It feels like Christmas when they step in here.
Well, it does, because you can get everything from a table centre to a gift to the Christmas tree, mistletoe, everything. We try to cover, you know, as much as we can in here.
Can you go any bigger or better than what you already are doing?
No, to be honest, I kind of think I'm at anyway the level I want to be at, because I want to be able to meet the customers, I want to be able to look after the customers, and I think this is about as stretched as I can be.
There's more to this than just handing somebody a tree, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's about an experience. And what we try to do here when people come in, welcome them, we give them a warm drink if they want that, and we generally let them go away and wander away themselves in until they find what they're looking for, and then it's a matter of bag it up, maybe let the kids pull it through the netter with us, you know. It's about creating a day out, create a bit of an event, and that's what we love, and we love to see that.